Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Talking to a Friend. My name is Micah and I am coming here today again with another message for you. So the name title of this message is Trust the Process to the Promise, okay? And in this case, God had me break down the meaning of process, to break down the stems of process, which you get pro and S, okay? So the meaning of pro is prep, and the meaning of S is to be. So when you put those together, you get prep to be. So God is saying you are being prepped to be whatever it is for you. So whatever that promise God has made to you in your life, whatever success God has promised to you in your life, whatever that thing is for you, this is the time where you are in the prep stage, okay? So God showed me a recipe. And when he showed me the recipe, the first thing you notice when you are reading a new recipe is the ingredient list, what to set the oven to, and how long it's going to take to prepare the cake. Okay, we're going to use a cake in this example. Okay, so you get your ingredient list. You also have your prep time and what to set the oven to. That's where you start at when you start with a new recipe. So God said, you are my secret ingredient. This thing cannot be done without you being all in it. So get all in it, okay? Be all in whatever it is that God is prepping you to do, okay? Getting your ingredients together. God said, check the cabinets, check the shelves, check the fridge first. Don't go running out trying to buy things on the list. First, see what you already have. Take inventory of what it is that you already possess. A lot of times we have skills, we have talents that we aren't using, and some we don't even realize that we have. We have undiscovered skills and talents within us that we have access to in order to reach our goals. So first thing we're going to do is start to use the skills and the tools that we already have been taught from our past experience to get to our next experience, okay? So we're going to analyze ourselves, and along this process we're going to be in full communication with God, asking God to show us what it is that we have within ourselves that can bring this thing to pass, that can bring this thing into fruition. And once you've done all that you can provide, God will then show you how and where to go to get the rest of the ingredients. So this is where God would tell you to sign up for the class and take the course. Sign up for the trade, take the training, get the therapy, go to counseling. These are the different things that we may reach out to other resources for in order to gain the skills and talents that we may need in order to do what it is that we are trying to accomplish on our journey, okay? So trust in the process each step of the way. Now, now this is where things really start to heat up, okay? Because now we get into the place where we mixing it all together and we're pouring it in the pan and we getting ready to put that cake in the oven. And one thing about when we cooking and we put it in the oven and we set the timer, it's already preheated, we then walk away. So God says, trust me the same way you trust the oven. Once you've done all that you do, all that you can do, and you give it to God, do you trust him? Do you trust him to get to the promise after the process has you've already gone through the process? Do you trust God to bring the promise to pass? This is where your faith gets tested. This is where your trust in God is tested. When you give it to God, are you willing to walk away from it, knowing that in due time, when that timer goes off at its appointed time, that everything is going to work out for the good, the best cake, okay? So when I was reading and studying and praying about this message that God was revealing to me, it reminded me of when I was reading 1st and 2nd Samuel, the story of King David. King David was anointed king when he was a child, okay? He was actually a shepherd when he was anointed to be king by Samuel. at that time that David was anointed to be king, when Samuel anointed him with the oil, David went back to being a shepherd. David didn't go from being anointed king to being in the throne, being on the throne. He actually went through a process. And along that process, he was being prepped to not only be a leader, but a strong leader over the people of God. So he got sent back to being a shepherd. And then from that point, he became the musician for King Saul. When the Holy Spirit left King Saul, he was left with a spirit of torment that tortured him. And the Holy Spirit went to David. So David used to play the lyre to appease the demonic spirit that was torturing Saul. So he went from shepherd, being anointed king, back to being a shepherd, to being a musician for the king. Okay? From that point, you get the story of David and Goliath. David's father sends him out to check on his brothers while they were in battle. And that's where you get the story of David and Goliath. And at that time, David was not a warrior. In fact, he had to convince Saul to allow him to go fight Goliath. He told Saul, oh, as a shepherd, I had to fight lions and bears. Certainly, I could take on this giant. Okay, so then you get the story of David and Goliath, and from there, David becomes a warrior in Saul's army. And he becomes the best warrior in Saul's army, which then makes Saul jealous of David. And Saul starts to try to kill David. He makes numerous attempts on David's life. He always fails. David always escapes. In fact, along some of those attempts, David caught Saul slipping a few times, and he could have killed Saul, but David never did it because David had the heart of God. Okay, he was after the heart of God. So he never killed Saul, though Saul made numerous attempts on his life. So it was a process, again, before David actually became the king of all of Israel. Even at one point, he was only king over half of the nation, and then the king over all of Israel. And if I'm not mistaken, I think David was 33 when he began his reign as king. But when he was anointed, he was a child. So he was given the promise, and then he had to be put through a process in order to reach the promise. And just because there are challenges along the way to reach your promise, it does not take away from the promise. It does not take that promise away from you. What is meant to be yours, it's yours. Okay? Trust the process each and every step of the way. Okay? So that is all that I have for you today. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. If this word encourage you, please pass it along to someone else that can use a word of encouragement. Like the video, subscribe to the channel for more messages. Until next time, stay strong, stay encouraged, and stay blessed. Have a beautiful and blessed day. Later.